Hi everyone, I'm Stan from Eagle Vision, here with Justin Gehde from Property Developer Podcast. Welcome, Justin.
Hi Stan, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And so now what I wanted to have a chat with Justin about is property development tips and insights. He runs a property developer podcast at propertydeveloperpodcast.com where regularly interviews a range of experienced property developers and other consultants in the industry. So we'll be talking about 4 different things, buy, build and sell, as well as some general tips. And in today's episode, we're going to cover all the aspects of buying the right site. So Justin, I guess, what would you say would be the number 1 tip for that?
Thanks Stan. Yes, I've spoken to a lot of people in the podcast and picked up some really great ideas and tips. So if developers out there want to take their developing to the next level, I encourage them to tune in. They'll pick up lots of information. The first tip that I picked up from experienced developers is around buying the right site. And that means if you want to get AAA results, then you need to buy in a AAA location. And what that means is don't go and buy a site in a B grade location and think that you're going to get A grade results. So don't go and buy a site at the fringe of a particular area and think that you're going to be able to sell your property for prices that perhaps you would get at the heart of that particular area where it's very popular. Negotiating really good settlement terms is a really great way of helping to de-risk your project. So if you can negotiate terms that allow a longer settlement, it means it gives you time to get your planning process underway and potentially get a planning permit or be a long way along the planning process before you actually settle. I know on the site that I've got at the moment, we negotiated a 11-month settlement with a view that we would be pretty close to getting our permit by the time it came to settle. And we're going to go pretty close to getting our permit, or at least finding out the status of the permit application by the time we settle. You can include a development management fee in your feasibility, and this is a great way for you to earn some cash flow. And a lot of funders out there and lenders, particularly the mainstream funders, will certainly allow you to include a development management fee in your feasibility and in your claims. And that's a really good way for you to earn some income along the way, because as you know, it can be a bit lumpy with developing in terms of cash flow and when you get paid. Investors are always a great idea in theory, and it's good if you can develop a group of trusted investors who are prepared to work with you and let you get on with the job of developing and do what you do best. Yeah. But as you're cultivating investors, you just need to be aware that not all investors are the same, and you need to be aware that these people are going to be along for the ride with you for a number of years, and you need to make sure that you're going to be able to work with them, that you understand what their goals are and what their problems are and how you as a developer are helping to solve those problems. So if you get the right group of investors, it can be really great. It could be a really long-term relationship. If you get the wrong investors because you're just desperate to get money, you can end up having a whole host of headaches over time that just won't be worth it. It's always wise to have contingency plans in place. No one ever likes to think that their project's going to go wrong. I don't think any developer ever thinks that their project is going to go wrong, but things do happen. The environment will change, stuff will come up, and you just need to have contingency plans in place to be able to deal with that, whether that's part of the planning phase, in being ready to go to a tribunal, or being ready to sell up, or whatever it might be. Try and think ahead what some of those issues are and put in place a couple of ideas about how you'll deal with them. There's a reason that you have a 5% contingency plan in place when you're doing your feasibility, because things inevitably come up, and the bigger the project, the more likelihood that you'll face some issues. I know on our last project we had some drainage issues that were unexpected and unforeseen, as well as some other issues along the way, and if we didn't have a contingency, it would have really blown something out. So that 5% contingency is really important. Selling agents are a really important part of acquiring sites, and you need to build relationships with the agents in the areas that you're looking for. And you really need to try and zero in on those agents that are going to work hard to bring you sites, because there are agents out there that will work really hard and they'll go out there and they'll dig around to find a good site and they'll bring them to you. And you really need to foster and cultivate a relationship with those kind of people. And what you need to keep in mind is if they're prepared to go and dig and bring you sites and work really hard, then they may also be prepared to go that extra mile and help you when it comes to selling your products.
And so just as a quick summary, would you like to recap some of the points we've talked about today?
Yeah, so we've gone over 6 points today. So the first one is around buying the right location. If you want to get AAA results, you need to buy a AAA located site. The second one is about negotiating the good settlement terms, so you give yourself enough time to get your plans in place. The third one is around having a development management fee, so you get a bit of cash flow going through your project.
Yep.
Be clear on investors and how you want to interact with them and who you want to bring on board as an investor. Fifth is around contingency plans and being prepared for the unexpected or the things that you know may go wrong. And then the final one is building those relationships with local agents who are going to work hard to bring you sites.
Fantastic. Look, Justin, thanks so much for your time. I suppose this is all we wanted to cover in this episode of buying the right kind of site. And next time we're going to talk about some of the aspects of the building stage of the property development process. Thanks again for watching. See you again.